Hey guys, Caitlin here from StorySpeak Enterprises. If you're using social media for business, here's why you need to know about big data. If you're using social media for anything, but especially business, you are part of the big data operation, okay? So big data is referring to the conglomerate of corporations essentially that controls data. Think about Google, think about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Think about all the ways you're logging in and providing information to these big companies. When you're creating an account, when you're providing your email, when you're getting notifications, when you're opting into things, you are voluntarily giving information, right? That's their business. Big data is the corporate business, essentially, especially for technology companies who capitalize on data. So now looking at your small business, when you're asking people for information, you have sign-up forms, maybe they're logging into a portal on your website, you have a calendar link, that's collecting data. And it's so important to protect this information because this data that we collect is our life support for business. So this data, the names, the email addresses, the websites of others, our ability to engage with each other, this is the blood of business, okay? And here's what can happen if you don't have proper systems in place to collect that type of data, to manage it, and to reach out to people. Say you have any website attached to your profiles on social media, okay? Perfect example of how you're depending on social media to drive traffic to that site. You think, oh, the more followers I have, the more clicks I will get. That's not necessarily true. It's because we all know about algorithms. Algorithms are developed by the creators of the platforms to make sure they are getting the results they want. So obviously, if it's not our own platforms or if it's not our own app, and you're using someone else's app or someone's platform, they're going to have their own agenda. More followers don't mean that you're going to have more clicks, because if you're not abiding by the algorithms, then you're not going to be seen. I'm a huge advocate for not following algorithms until you have the money and the time to pay attention to that. And here's why. Paying attention to the algorithms requires making it almost a full-time job. That's why it's so important to work up to the point of hiring a platform specialist, a Facebook specialist, or an Instagram specialist, but it's not things that we as business owners should spend our full time doing. Because if we are spending our full time on these platforms, we're building the platform's businesses, right? We're using the business of Facebook, of Instagram, to leverage data there. And that's why funnels are important. When we have funnels, we're creating ways to collect data outside of these corporations, and we can control access to it. So this is great because if you have lost followers or if you're not following algorithms and your account gets shut down, this is going to protect your business for the long term. And I've often heard horror stories of people who rely on word of mouth for years, and then if they don't go online for a while, they lose all of their data, they lose all their information because they didn't have the proper funnels and systems set up to manage their own data and keep that information of prospects, of former customers and all that jazz, to maintain relationships with those they serve and those they want to work with. So that's what it is. Big data is all about maintaining relationship, the ability to access one another. And in today's world, it's super important to develop the opportunities for us to do that without needing social media or any big corporation. So this is something I teach in the Legacy Brand Leader curriculum. It's creating funnels, it's creating systems so you can manage data and protect your business.